Where will you get this money from?
Well, Tipsy, I think the first question is, you said that this, when the incomes are not growing. This is an income tax. Only when there is an income, then we are talking of the tax. So income has to grow to the level to discuss about the tax. Now, why from 7 to 12 lakh? It is something like, it was earlier 2.2 lakhs. When 2014, it became 2.5 lakh, nobody is going to pay tax. Then there was a 2019 that, we said 5 lakhs, nobody is going to pay tax. Then we said it was raised to 7 lakhs. And now it's being raised to 12 lakhs. So this is a perception that the government feels that, on the average 1 lakh per month, if you have, then you need not pay tax, which means that, we are doing it in two ways. One is we are reducing the slab rates. We are expanding the slabs. If you would have noticed, the slabs are now 0 to 4, 4 to the uniform slabs, and there is a gradualism. There was a thing when we had earlier 20%, then it was jumping to 30%. Now it is 20, we have introduced 25 also. So it's the gradual thing which has been done. Now this benefits every one of the taxpayers, because whatever benefits which has come from the slabs gets transmitted across. So therefore everyone gets a benefit. Now the second part, FM decided that, well, some people should get a little more benefit than merely slab rate reduction would have given. And so therefore an extra rebate. So slab rate reduction for everyone, and extra rebate for 7 lakhs were already getting it, now 7 to 5 lakhs more people have been added. So this is the philosophy behind it. And as you said, why you do it, I think we expect that all that money which they gave and comes back to the economy in either consumption, savings or investments, in whatever way they choose to do.
I just want to add to that. If you compare what we've done today with what prevailed in 2014 under the Congress government, what we are, most often the narrative is we should put money back in the hands of the people. I want to please give this comparison for your consideration. If you compare it with the 2014 tax rates under the Congress, for somebody who's earning 8 lakhs, nearly 1 lakh more money is in their pockets today because of the amendments that we've brought in. Meaning, 1 lakh income tax in 2014 is 0 income tax now. So that money is going back to the people in their hands for those who are earning 8 lakhs. For those earning 12 lakhs, 2 lakh was the income tax in 2014 versus today 0 which is proposed. Meaning nearly 2 lakh more money in the pockets of people who are earning 12 lakh. All right, did I stop it there? As Finance Secretary rightly said, across the board everybody is getting benefit because the rates have also been brought down. Not just the rebates being given to up to 12 lakhs. Rates for everybody is being brought down. As a result, take somebody who earns 24 lakhs in a year. The income tax on them in 2014 was 5.6 lakhs. 2014. For them, now it is only 3 lakhs. The rate change has benefited somebody who earns 24 lakh as well. So 2.6 lakh rupees more in the pocket of people who are earning 24 lakh. So it is not just those who are up to 12 lakh because they are not paying any tax at all, because rebate is given to make up for the tax amount which they have to pay. It is not just up to 12 lakh. Even for others, benefit is accruing, and compared to what it was in 14, that much amount of money is going back to those respective money earners. Just compare it with 24 tax rates, which is prevailing now, and what is being proposed. I would like to draw the comparison. 8 lakh people, meaning those who are earning 8 lakhs. 30,000 rupees more is being put back into their pockets, meaning they would be paying 30,000 in the prevailing tax, 8 lakh salaried wale. Now they pay 0 in the new proposal. Similarly, 12 lakh salary or income wale would have 80,000 rupees tax to pay in the current prevailing taxation rates. They would have 80,000 rupees now go back to their pockets. They don't have to pay that tax. Go to the 24 lakh and compare with the present rates. Present prevailing rate, they have to pay 4.1 lakh rupees as tax. We are saying now they will have 1.10 lakh in their pockets, which they don't have to pay as tax. So we have put good substantial amounts into the pockets of people who deserve to get that. And I would want that to be highlighted compared to what prevailed in 14 and what prevails just this year.
3 number.
Ma'am, many congratulations. Something that was being quoted to you as well as the Prime Minister and yesterday the Chief Economic Advisor hinted, in terms of disinvestment and where you should not get into, government. You yourself have been talking from 2020, 21 and subsequently, government should be in less spaces. Has it been a strategy? Because I know you're committed to it, but last budget you didn't refer to it. This budget you have not referred to it. The target still remains there. Is there any impetus that you're going to do towards what has already been announced by the budget? For example, bank privatization of banks and others. That's one. And the second because that was unanswered, you're making it simpler, the income tax. And, bringing a thing, does this mean that you can now, not necessarily all the time, you can do it through a schedule or an executive order if you want to give some relief to a common man in the new income tax bill that you bring in?
No, giving relief any time will have to go to the Parliament, because if we are giving fiscal, relief to people, it has to have approval from the Parliament. So but what the tax simplification really means is the complication in the language, the circuitous way in which they were explaining things, and adding too many exemptions. You will realize that when we brought in the new tax regime, we didn't want the old tax regime imitated or copied. In that, there are several exemptions given in the old regime. In the new, we didn't want to give any, because we wanted a simple, straightforward tax regime in which the rates can be brought down. That's what we've done even now. So the act itself had to be simplified. The attempt now is that.
Okay. And on the disinvestment and...
No, all that will continue. There won't be a relenting on any of this.
On disinvestment, if I can add, you see, the last time, July, also the similar questions were asked. We have actually since then, a value creation strategy, which was actually well explained at that time also. There is no disinvestment target per se. Disinvestment and dividend are both looked at together, because both are money and money is fungible. And it has got 5 elements. The first element is that we are saying CPSE's performance. The second is we say that we should have communication of performance. The third we say that the capex of the CPSE, which is important, as you know, in terms of accelerating growth. The fourth is the consistent dividend policy. And the fifth is there is a calibrated disinvestment strategy. And the disinvestment also is there. The listing is a part of disinvestment itself. So if you really look at it, both dividend and disinvestment is about 80 to 90,000 crore per annum are being raised, but in a manner which are beneficial to the minority shareholders who are there in all our listed companies.
65, backside.
Good afternoon, ma'am. This is Ruchi Bhatia from Bloomberg News. I have a question for the Revenue Secretary and a question for you. If the Revenue Secretary can give us details on the benefits, the number of people who will benefit from the slab, from the rebates going up from 7 lakhs to 12 lakhs. And the question for you, Madam Finance Minister, a lot of people say that while the absolute number for CAPEX has gone up, the pace of spending has gone down as compared to a few years ago. Is it telling of the institutional capacity in terms of how much capex push can the government really do? And secondly, as far as a lot of analysts do say that the multiplier that capex has is a lot more than the multiplier in the economy than that tax cuts have. What would you say to like some of those concerns as well?
Well, 1 crore people will not benefit between the 7 lakh and 12 lakhs.
Meaning 1 crore more people will pay no tax. On the capex, I think there are two things playing out. One, of course, this particular year has had the elections happening, and because of that, both central government and state governments were catching up with investments, public spending on investments only from the second and the third quarter, so it showed. It's equally true that when fundamental requirements are taken care of, when you're bringing in additional overhead, there is a pace at which those additions happen. So it's not as if there is no thirst for capital expenditure, but now it will be at a pace in which you can build on each one of the developments that you've done prior. So it will continue. There are some departments which will need more. There are others who would probably reach a plateau, but expenditure will have to continue even in them. So the heads where the capital expenditure will happen will vary, but expenditure will happen in building assets.
121.
No, capex is also continuing. I have not foregone capex to give for revenue expenditure or consumption expenditure. So both continue. Ajay.
Look at what the overall numbers are. Even in the coming year, the next year, effective capital expenditure, including what Government of India provides to state for their capital expenditure, is 4.3% of the GDP, one of the highest. So it's not just what Government of India departments spend, it is the total money which goes for the capital expenditure. And if you look at that compared with this year's RE, there will be 20% increase. If you look B to B, still there will be a 10% increase. And it is not a capacity issue, it is a new sectors coming up. For example, if you notice, urban sector, the allocations are increasing. That's one area which requires a renewed focus.
121.
On the capex, because this point can come up later also. So one is the capex that we give directly, that is we do as central government directly. Other is that grants that we give to the state governments, for the state governments to do capex. For example, for Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, for example, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, and so on and so forth. So if you also include the grants and aid for creation of capital assets, the amount, total amount has gone up to 15.48 crores in the budget estimate for the next year, which is more than 15% increase over the current year's RE. So that is a substantial increase, whereas you consider that the overall expenditure, that is revenue plus capital, has grown by around 7% in the next financial year as compared to this year's RE. So this is almost twice the aggregate growth in the expenditure.
Yes.
I would like to also add that on top of this 15 lakh crore capex, which is 11.2 there, and the extra money which goes into revenue but goes in capital building at the hand of the states, the CPSC, the Central Public Sector Enterprises, add about 4 lakh crore as capex from their own resources. So that's also the capex which goes in, and that is not counted here.
Yeah. Mike on.
तरुण शर्मा फ्रॉम जी बिजनेस। मैम मेरे दो सवाल हैं। एक, मैम आपने इंश्योरेंस की जो FDI लिमिट है वो 74 से 100% करिए, तो क्या मैम जो इंश्योरेंस अमेंडमेंट बिल था उसकी जो बाकी रिकमेंडेशन है